Welcome back to the channel, and as you can see from that intro, we've got a brand new project to work on. Now, this is not mine, and by the time you guys are seeing this video, I can assure you, unlike when I worked on mine in real time and couldn't keep up with the videos, this whole series is done, and this truck is completed. I guarantee you, because this guy who I'm building the truck with, and I said with, not for, wanted to keep this under wraps. Just like me, he's wanted this truck for a long time, and well, he was brave enough to ask me for help. So for those of you watching this and wondering, it is a 97 Nissan Hardbody, and there's probably a bunch of video running right now while I'm talking that shows us tearing the bed off and tearing the fenders off and getting it all stripped down so that we can get on to the work at hand that you're about to see right now before you, which is bagging this whole truck. And that's right, this truck has been pretty freaking low in my opinion for a while. It is a clean truck, despite what the owner may think. He tends to argue with me, but just get a load of this. I mean, she's relatively clean, and you can see just by looking at it, never been in a collision. That's the original core support. No repair work of any kind. Frame horn in the back, look, I mean, I assure you, these are not crashed. Nothing's been pulled out. All the stuff is still in the stock location. The axle is a little sus. It's filthy, and I don't know why, because you can see the brake lines are not. The lowering blocks and springs are not. Right in front of that bearing is not, and that seal. So I don't know if that's been replaced. I don't know what the deal is. But I do know we've got a ton of parts and a ton more on the way, ready to get installed and get this build going. So I can assure you, do that like, share, subscribe thing, because you're gonna see this series all the way through. Starting right now with tearing down the front end and getting everything prepped to install airbags on the front of this truck. Hence the title of this video. He's bought some of his stuff used. And he's got a bunch of brand new stuff, like this complete chopping block kit. It's 1.5 inch tubing. It's the same kit I used on my Toyota. And he's got a lot of other new parts on the way. But we're gonna utilize some of this, some new stuff, and make it happen. But the first thing we gotta do is get this front end tore down. Trust me, this truck sits a lot lower than this. I actually cranked it up. I stuck the old bolts on the torsion bars. We've already got the shocks off, the bump stops off, and I've got the torsion bars cranked up so that I can make it tearing apart a lot easier. I'm gonna get it up on jack stands, get the wheels off, get the torsions out, and try to get all the A-arms and stuff out right now. One thing you'll learn about any project that you're excited about is before you get to the fun stuff, there's a lot of hard work that has to happen. Yep, this is where we're at. So, just to get to this point, we started by removing the torsions, which sounds simple enough, and it really was on the passenger side. The most challenging part is pulling the little clips to allow the retaining clips to allow the torsions to come all the way out the back. The driver's side proved to be a little bit more difficult because there's a full exhaust system down there in the way and cross member that sits immediately behind the torsion bar. So in order to get the driver's side out, I had to drop the whole exhaust, which isn't a huge deal because it's coming off anyways. I wish I would have had better luck getting that O2 out. I'm letting it soak in some PB Blaster, and hopefully that will do the trick. Yeah, yeah. Then I moved back up front, got my brake caliper tied out the way. Make sure to always support these guys. I know it looks a little tight, but she's not. She's good. I've just got her out the way for now. Then you go ahead and knock your ball joints loose. We were actually missing a cotter key on one of those, so doesn't really matter. All this stuff's gonna get replaced. You can see they're pretty worn. All the boots are shot. Everything was, the ball joints were actually still, this one's probably not good. Yeah, this lower's pretty shot. The boots are all torn and all that. This one's pretty bad. Top one, believe it or not, was actually pretty good, but the boot was shot. Now you can see the job that lies ahead of us. We've got to remove all this material here, get rid of this shock mount, plate our frame back in where we weaken it, get this lower control arm still off, because we're gonna need to plate this, prep that, and get this ground down so that we can, yeah, get a shock mount on here, get a bag mount on here, and get all this put back in. So lots more work to do, but like I said, this is what you gotta do before you can get to the fun stuff. Man, I got right to work on this stuff and completely forgot that we were gonna be shooting a video to do this stuff. We're working on a different project right now. Nissan Hardbody upper control arm flip. Yeah, we're gonna box them, we're gonna flip them, we're gonna show you how it's done. Here's your stock one. Look, you can tell it's stock. I marked it passenger. And because I forgot, I've already started to trim them. That's right, I'm taking material off. We're gonna grind this spot down. We're gonna flip them so the ball joints go on the top side. But not only are we gonna do that, we're gonna flip them from the passenger side to the driver's side. So they're gonna flip upside down after you trim all this material away. You can see I still have the whole inside to trim. I've only trimmed the outside at this point, right? And then this guy will mount just like this from the passenger side to the driver's side, and the ball joint will go back in place. How cool is that? If you take a look at this one, which is the driver, you can see it's pretty much done. Yeah, I've already got it plated, right? Got a little bit of welding to do on this side. Full transparency, I ran out of wire. And yeah, we're gonna make this look a little nicer in here. But that's it. Already got this guy, you can see, ground down. See that? Now it's gone, smooth. Our ball joint's gonna sit nice and flat there when it flips over that way and becomes our top. It's important to keep track of your washers for alignment purposes so they go back in the right spot, as well as making sure passenger and driver's side. I'll give you a tip. If you forget, the thick part goes towards the front of the car originally. See that? Skinny, thick. All right, I figure I don't want to skip any steps. So I got my piece all traced and cut out. Needs cleaned up, needs trimmed. But basically you can see how she's gonna get set on here and get cleaned up. If this happens because you're using a 4-inch cutoff wheel, don't sweat it. Just tack it up, grind it smooth. Trust me, this whole piece together is gonna be a lot stronger than it was originally by the time you get her all said and done. Well, we're continuing to work on the hard body, and here's where we're at on the driver's side. We've got our top plate in. Look, our A-arm in, our upper bag mount is in. All right, in the ball joint grease, our lower plate is in. Our frames box, we're waiting on the triangulation kit and shock mount from Roadie Fab to show up. Then we'll finish getting this brake line out the way. If you come around to this side, you can see we're about to box this frame in. So we still got to notch this A-arm, get all this stuff out the way, get ready to put our bag in there. But I've got this piece cut out. I think it goes like that. And we're gonna go ahead and get this welded in, get this plated up, and just move right on down. But things are moving along quite nicely on the front end of this hard body. All right, here we are. We've got that plate all welded in. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it all cleaned up and see if it needs another pass. But that should clean up nice. All right, so we've got our first pass done on that and a rough cleanup. Probably gonna go back in there and give it a second pass and smooth it out a little bit more. Get this all gone. But not bad, not bad. That frame's tied together nice. Update, update, update. The wheels are on. The bags are in. If you notice, I even have the top gusset just sitting there. We've got it all tacked together. I want to check everything before we put it all back together. This side is completely welded, that side is not, so we want to see if we're going to make any adjustments first. And get ready to take it for a little up and down cycle session. So let's do it. Okay, so we're gonna let the jack down and see what happens. This battery's probably gonna die. I guess it works. With a 205 40 16 as you're seeing right there. Full fender. And the cross member was on the ground. So leave that guy maybe right there. And you guys can get a view of what's going on. Slowly let it out. There we go. We'll let the air out real slow. You can see everything cycle. And right there, it's on the ground before it even touches the fender. So, and that's with the big bag in there. Shocks aren't in yet, rotary arms in inlet. You can see full fenders. Full fenders, everything in there. She is on the ground.